So, hi there, can I take your full name, please?
It's Libby Rower.
And what do you prefer to be called?
Just Libby.
Okay, thank you. So, I'll just introduce myself. So, my name is Rach Parsons and I'm a psychological wellbeing practitioner here at Health and Mind. I've got specific training in supporting people with anxiety and depression. And I work as part of a wider team who've got similar training and may be involved in your care further down the line. The aim of today, it is an initial assessment, so the idea is to get a clear understanding as to how things are affecting you, and as part of that process we'll do some questionnaires and at the end discuss how we might be able to support you moving forward. We've got 35 minutes today to do that.
Okay.
Is that okay with you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, have you got any questions? Mm-hmm. Okay. So if you'd like to tell me the reasons for you coming to see us today.
A couple of months ago I went to the supermarket and I just got a massive panic attack.
Mm-hmm.
And it's happened a couple of times since, and now I just feel like I can't go anymore.
Okay. So you had a massive panic attack in the supermarket, and that's happened since then as well.
Mm.
And now you're thinking you can't go back there.
Yeah.
Okay. So you had a panic attack. Well, can you tell me a bit about how that made you feel physically?
Yeah, it's just really horrible. Like I got the really shaky legs. Like that was kind of how it started. And my heart was racing, and I sort of felt like I couldn't breathe, and I just got really hot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just it was horrible.
Okay, so it sounds like it's quite scary for you. Mm. And you said that you've the feelings that you had was that you had shaky legs and heart racing, felt hot and breathing. And is that those the symptoms that you've had in all of the situations you've had panic?
Yeah. It feels like they're really strong and like really intense.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it's really intense, really.
Yeah.
Sounds hard for you.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And how many times have you said this has happened to you?
Well, it's only sort of 3 times because I just don't go now.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you had happened 3 times and now you avoid going.
Yeah.
And where is it you're avoiding going?
To the supermarket, really. I mean, I am worried it will happen in other places. Like, there's a shop up the road that I've been using, and I'm worried that it'll start to happen there. But yeah, the big supermarkets, I just don't go.
Okay. So what's the difference between the big supermarket and the shop up the road?
It's just smaller and there's not as many people, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know. I'm sort of closer to home, I think.
Okay. So it's smaller and it's closer to home.
Mm.
So you felt more comfortable using the smaller one rather than avoiding the larger one,
Yeah.
but your concerns are that it might start happening in the small one as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So specifically, you're avoiding the big supermarkets.
Mm.
Is there anywhere else that you're avoiding?
No, not really. Like I'm trying to keep going in other aspects, but just the big supermarkets.
Okay. So you say you're trying to get going in other aspects. What do you mean by that?
Well, just work and things like that. I work in like a busy office and things, and I suppose I'm worried that it might be similar in terms of environment, but I'm still going to work and still seeing my friends and stuff.
Okay. So there's been no change to you going to work. No change to you seeing friends.
No.
Okay. So is there any other area of your life that you think has changed because of how you're feeling at the moment?
Maybe my relationship with my partner, because he just thinks it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So he's either having to do food shopping or whatever, and I just think he thinks it's just a bit pathetic. So.
Okay, so you think your partner thinks it's pathetic?
Yeah, so I think maybe we're not getting on as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're trying to avoid going to the supermarket where possible, but you said that you've been able to go to smaller ones and ones that are closer to home. Is there anything that you're doing to help you get to those places?
Yeah, it sounds stupid, but I take water with me because I get really hot when it happens, and I just think that will help like cool me down.
Mm-hmm.
And when I've been going up the shop, I've been making like my partner come with me,
Okay.
or my friend who lives up the road. So, and it seems to help to have someone there, because I feel like I'm going to pass out. So if they were there, then at least they could help.
Okay, so to make it feel better, you're taking water with you
Yeah.
to help you cool down. And also you prefer to have somebody with you, preferably a partner or a friend.
Yeah.
And you mentioned something that you're thinking now, I think.
Yeah. I think it's just those physical symptoms. I feel like I'm going to pass out. I feel really shaky. I feel like I'm going to need to sit down, or I'm going to fall over, or I'm going to faint or something, or be sick. I sometimes get like the feeling I'm going to be sick or something.
Okay. So you have that physically as well. You have that feeling.
Yeah. Just I think where I'm so hot and shaky.
Yeah, so it's another physical symptom that you feel like can be sick. But some of the thoughts you're having is that I'm going to pass out, I'm going to fall over.
Yeah.
And where are you having those thoughts?
Well, when I'm in the situation, so when I'm in the supermarket. But sometimes, like before I go, so if I'm going to the smaller shop, I worry, what if I fall over, or what if I faint, or
So where is
if I get a panic attack.
Okay. Where is it that you're having those thoughts before you go?
Well, just wherever I am, so it might be driving in the car or at home.
Okay. So if I just clarify, you were having those thoughts, or you do have those thoughts when you're actually in the place, but you're also finding now that you're having those thoughts like, what if I pass out, what if I fall over before you actually get there as well. So it sounds like it's scaring you at home.
Yeah, just worrying about it,
Okay. So you had a big panic attack in a big supermarket, and you had some other smaller panic attacks, you said, which has led to you avoiding the big ones, but you're able to go to the smaller ones. But it's having quite an impact on some of the worries that you're having about having to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is there anything particular on a day-to-day basis that triggers off that worry?
No, I think if I know that I need to do food shopping, the fridge is empty.
Okay.
And then, if I don't want to ask my partner if I want to, try and do it myself, then I have those thoughts.
Okay, yeah. So having to do the food shop, having to ask your partner, that makes you start to worry.
Yeah.
And is there anything else that might trigger off those worries?
No, I don't think so.
No, okay. And you've also explained to me the physical feelings that you've had, like the shaky legs, heart racing, the hotness that you're telling me about. Is there anything else other than the supermarket that triggers off those kind of physical feelings?
No, not at the moment. They're the only places.
Okay. So I just sum up everything that you've told me, then you can just check that I've covered everything that you're concerned at the moment. So it's about panic attacks and specific to having to go to the supermarket. You're okay with smaller ones at the moment, but you're worrying about whether that's going to, that area is going to be affected as well. And some of the thoughts that you're having is that you're going to pass out, going to fall over. And the main impact, really, the main change in your behaviour is about having to take water to go with your partner. But you feel like work and things like that are the same at the moment. Yeah. So I missed anything there?
No, I don't think so.
No. Okay. Okay, so what we're just going to move on to now is it's a risk assessment basically. And the idea of this is that every week we check the safety of yourself and the safety of other people around you, and just ask you a series of questions to ensure that you feel safe. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
So first question, are you having any suicidal thoughts at the moment?
No.
Okay. And have you had those kind of thoughts in the past?
No.
Okay. And have you got any plans to commit suicide at the moment? No. And have you had those kind of plans in the past?
No.
And have you made any, taken any actions to prepare for suicide? And have you done those kind of preparations in the past? Okay, so you told me that you're not experiencing those thoughts at the moment, you haven't got any plan to end your life. What is it in your life that prevents you from having those kind of sort of for making a suicide attempt, do you think?
I don't really think in that way, but I guess it would be like my family, my partner, people around me that need me. I don't think I'd do that.
So the people that need you, your family in particular, you said. Okay, so they keep you safe.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll ask you another few questions about self-harm. But do you know what I mean by self-harm?
Like cutting yourself, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So but basically deliberately causing harm to yourself without wanting to kill yourself.
Yeah.
Have you had thoughts about that at the current time?
No.
And have you thought about that in the past?
No.
And in the past, have you had any plans to self-harm? And do you have those plans currently?
No.
Okay. And in the past, have you taken any action to actually harm yourself?
No.
And at the moment, do you have any intention to harm yourself?
No.
Okay. Do you feel that you're at risk from anybody else?
No.
No. Okay. And do you feel that you're a risk to other people?
No. Hopefully not. No.
Okay. Do you feel like you're looking after yourself at the moment?
Yeah. No. I think I'm okay in that aspect. Yeah.
Yeah. So food, eating, and doing dress, things like that.
Yeah.
So all,
Yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned your partner, but you haven't mentioned any children. Do you have any dependents?
No.
No. Okay. Okay. So just to summarise that. So in terms of feeling suicidal, it's not something that you're thinking about at the moment, and it isn't something that you've thought about taking any action on in the past, and your family keeps you safe. The same applies with regards to self-harm, is that you haven't had any thoughts in the past or the present, and you don't have any plans, and you haven't in the past, and you don't feel that you're at risk from anybody else or to other people currently, and you feel like you're looking after yourself and you don't have any dependents to be careful. Okay, so like I say, we do revisit that every week just to monitor your safety and to check that everything's okay for you as to whether there's been any change. And I've got some phone numbers as well that I can give you, and they're basically support helplines. Should there be any change and you do have those thoughts, you need someone to talk to, then they're available 24 hours a day. That's some information that we'll go through later. Okay, all right. Okay, just to move on to the impact that your problem is having on you, so it's like the consequences really of feeling the way that you are. We've perhaps covered some of this already, but I'll just go over that now. But the first area to look at is work. You said previously that you felt that work was okay?
Yeah, no, work's fine, I'm still going. Obviously I know people who've had panic attacks, and I know it's creeped into other areas of their life, so I'm worried about it affecting work, but it hasn't at the moment. So
okay, so it's something that you're worried could happen, but at the
Yeah.
moment you feel quite secure and going to work. Okay, and what about home, so kind of the domestic element of home in terms of housework, etc. Do you feel that that's affected?
Yeah, no, I've never been great at housework, but it's fine. Yeah.
So there's been a change for you. Okay. And your social life, again, you mentioned that you're still in contact with your friends, so there's been no change in terms of that?
No, I'm still going out and seeing them and everything, so no, that seems to be okay.
Yeah, okay. What about your private hobbies, things like that you would do on your own? Has there been any particular impact to that area?
Yeah, I mean, if I've been, I have noticed actually that I feel quite tired if I've been out and feel, like if I've felt really panicky, then I feel really tired, and then I'll come home and just not do the things I normally do, like I normally, go for a run or do some sewing or stuff like that. I'm not really doing that kind of stuff as much actually.
So you're finding that if you do feel panicky, then that can
Yeah.
make you feel quite tired, and therefore you don't have the motivation, if you like, to do things.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a slight impact there then. To
Yeah, not huge, like not every day.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And the last area that we would ask you about is about your family relationships and intimate relationships. Is there any difficulties?
I think wider family's fine, but as I say, me and my partner aren't getting on that well, so I think he just doesn't understand. He just never felt like that. So.
Okay. So he doesn't understand. Okay. So tell me a little bit more about
I think he just thinks you just need to get on with it and just get over it and do it, and it's been just being a bit ridiculous. So it's kind of, I suppose, I want him to be supportive, so we're kind of battling a little bit. But
Okay, so you feel like you're battling?
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you're finding it quite hard, and he doesn't quite understand it from your perspective.
No.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like it's quite difficult for you then at home.
Yeah, no, it can be. I mean, he's good in general, but it's just,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, a bit more tense than it normally is.
Okay, so more tense. So to summarise it in terms of the impact to your life, it does sound like that's the main area really. In that it's having an impact on your relationship with your partner, but in terms of work and your homework, housework rather, social life, private leisure activities, that kind of thing. There's no massive change there.
No.
Okay. All right. So next area to look at is these questionnaires, which you might have seen before in GP, but I'll go through them to explain them. Basically, the idea of these is that they give us an indication as to the level of anxiety and depression that you might be experiencing at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like a baseline, really, for the type of treatment that's going to be best suited for you.
Okay.
And we monitor these, we do these every week, and we monitor the progress on them to see whether there needs to be any change in the work that we're doing. And also hoping to see how things are changing for the better for you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we'll just run through these firstly. So this one, PHQ-9, measures depression, and it's looking at the last 2 weeks, how often you've been bothered by the problems that are listed here, and then rating yourself on this scale. So it's not at all, several days, more than half the days, or nearly every day. The GAD-7 measures anxiety is the same format, so it's thinking about the last 2 weeks and how you've been bothered and rating yourself on that scale, and not at all, several days, more than half the days, nearly every day. The one at the bottom here is measuring phobia, so it's looking at the degree to which you'll avoid places because you're fearful of them. And the scale is a little bit different here. It's 0 to 8, so 0 would be that you would not avoid it because you're perfectly comfortable in those situations. To 8, you would always avoid it because of that fear level. A few questions on your employment status. And then this last questionnaire is called the Work and Social Adjustment Scale, and this is looking at the impact of your problems, so a bit like what we explored just before. So it's looking at how your problems are affecting your ability to do day-to-day tasks. Again, the scale is 0 to 8, so it's not at all, you're fine doing that activity, or to 8, very soon you can't do it because of your problems. Okay. So I can fill these in for you, and we can go through them, or if you're comfortable, you can fill them in yourself.
Oh, no, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That's right. Thank you. Okay, so I'll just top these up. Okay, just to get your employment details. So you
Full-time,
you
sorry.
full-time, yeah? Are you on statutory
No,
sick?
and no to the other question.
No, okay. Right. This one. Okay, so if I just feed back the results, please, from you. So this one, like I said, is measuring depression. You're scoring 5 out of 27 on this one, which indicates a mild level of depression. On this one, which is measuring anxiety, you're scoring 10 out of 21, and that indicates a moderate level of anxiety. Okay, so that suggests that it's the difficulties you're experiencing are more of an anxious nature than a low mood or depressed nature, which kind of summarises what you were saying before. On the phobia scale, you scored 0 on the social situations, so they're fine for you, and 7 out of 8 on both the panic attack and the fear of a particular object or activity. So a score of over 4 suggests that there is a significant difficulty in those two areas, which again summarises what you were saying before about it being panic attacks and being in specific places. Yeah. Over here. On the work and social adjustment scale, scoring 9 out of 40. So this suggests that it's having if we break it down, it's having a significant impact on your relationships at home, which again is what you've said. But the other areas, it does suggest that there isn't a massive impact. Do those outcomes reflect how you're feeling, do you think?
Yeah, I would definitely say I'm more anxious than depressed, so yeah.
Okay, so it's good reflection really of what you said. Okay, that's good. So we'll like I say, we'll go through these every week, so we'll see what changes have occurred. Okay. So just need to take a few more details from you now. So firstly, how long has this been going on for roughly?
It's probably nearly 3 months now since the first panic attack.
Okay, so 3 months since the first one. Yeah. And why do you think you've come to see us now?
Because it's just getting ridiculous. I'm worried about going to small shops now, and I don't want it to, I want to just nip it in the bud.
Okay, so nip it in the bud. Yeah. So it's the escalation of it that you're concerned about. Okay. And have you experienced anything like this previously?
No, never.
No, okay. And have you had treatment or counselling or anything like that in the past? No. Okay, and you've been to see your GP, but have you talked about medication at all?
They actually suggested diazepam, but I don't want to take medication. I think I can overcome it on my own. So.
Okay, so you've been to see your GP and they've discussed diazepam with you, but you feel like you don't want to.
Yeah, I know that's addictive. I don't want to take it really.
Okay. And what's your thoughts on medication generally?
I'd rather not.
You'd rather not?
Yeah, to be honest.
Okay. And did they refer you on anywhere else other than here?
No.
No. Are you taking any over-the-counter medication to help?
Yeah, I have tried Rescue Remedy, but I don't think it really makes any difference.
Okay. And when do you take that?
Like if I have to go to the shops or anything.
Okay. So if you have to go to the shops, you take it. And how often would you say that is? Is it every time you go to the shop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe a couple of times a week or something.
A couple of times a week. Okay. And is that in line with what they recommend on the?
Oh yeah.
Okay. And do you take any illegal substances?
Oh no.
Have you in the past?
No.
Do you drink alcohol?
Yeah, just socially.
Socially, yeah. Okay. So when you say socially, how often is that? Would you say?
Mostly just at weekends. Might share a bottle of wine with a friend or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you go out at the weekends, and it would be sharing a bottle of wine. Okay. And do you smoke?
No.
No. And do you drink much caffeine at all?
No more than usual. A couple of cups a day.
A couple of cups of
tea.
A couple of cups of tea. Okay. And are you aware of having any other difficulties, like addictions to anything else, like internet use or those kind of things? No. Okay, so just to summarise, you've not experienced this before. You might have treatments in the past, and this has been you've been experiencing this for about 3 months, and your words are it's getting ridiculous. So you want to do something about it. Okay, you're not taking medication, you'd rather not, and you're not taking anything else to help you in how you're feeling. And there's no legal substances, and your alcohol use is quite minimal from what you're saying. Is there anything else that would be helpful for me to know at this stage, do you think?
No, I think you've covered it.
Yeah, okay, so that sums everything up. Okay, the last bit of sort of information gathering, if you like, from yourself is what we're going to do is do a problem statement. And then this is basically summing up everything that you've told me into a nutshell. So it's having a short summary, which will then guide treatment. So we kind of focus on the problem statement to guide where we go forward in terms of the kind of support that you'd have. Okay, so it's our focal point, I guess. Normally what we start that with is my main problem is. So what would you lead on from that, do you think? on the other thing, just before we start, would you like to write this, or are you happy with
Oh, no,
it?
you.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so sorry, my main problem is, where would you go from there?
Feeling panicky in supermarkets, I think.
Yeah. Feeling panicky in supermarkets. And normally what we put in there is how that might be affecting you in a physical sense. I suppose you've got feeling panicky, but if we've developed that a little bit.
I think the main ones are feeling hot and shaky, like they're the two, the main ones.
So would that be, I feel hot?
I feel hot and shaky, yeah.
Feel hot and shaky, sorry, yeah. Okay, so my main problem is feeling panicky in supermarkets. I feel hot and shaky. And how is that affecting you in the things that you do? How would you sum that up as the main things?
I'm avoiding going to the shops. I'm just avoiding going to the shops or doing the food shopping.
Yeah, avoiding going to shops. And doing the food shopping. Okay. So it sounds like an impact really, isn't it? It's a consequence of how you're feeling. You're avoiding going to the shops and food shopping. I wonder if it'd be helpful to put some of the things that you're doing to help you get there. Like what we
I've got to take someone with me. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to have someone with you. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was going to say that they're what we would call safety behaviours. So they're things that you would do to help you get to the place. So and you mentioned family partnering.
Okay. Yeah. No, I definitely do.
Yeah. So we'll go into that in a bit more detail further down the line. But if I put that in here. So when you go into shops and food shopping, so how would you put that into words?
If I have to go to the shop, I take my partner or water.
Okay. Sorry, scribbling away here. Okay, so if I read that back, and then if you let me know if you want to change anything. So my main problem is feeling panicky in supermarkets. I feel hot and shaky. I'm avoiding going to shops and doing food shopping. If I have to go, I take my partner and water with me. Is that what you said, do you think?
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to change? You feel happy with that?
No, we're happy. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So like I say, we'll start each session going on with looking at that and checking that that's how you want to go forward with the treatment.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I tell you a little bit about what we do, so I can tell you how we're going to go on from here.
Okay.
What it's suggesting to me is that you're feeling symptoms of panic and that you're symptoms of agoraphobia. So you're avoiding places where you feel like you can't get out, you can't escape. Does that kind of summarise how you feel?
Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah.
What's your understanding of panic?
I suppose only just really from a physical perspective, that it's just really intense physical feelings that make you then not want to feel those physical feelings ever again.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's all I know really.
Okay. So yeah, it sounds. So to look at that a bit more detail, it's having those physical sensations like you described, really, that feeling of being panicked and hot, sweaty, and breathing difficulties, that kind of thing, and wanting to get out of the place, and then wanting to avoid going back.
Yeah.
So it's leading to that worry that you were describing as well about going to other places. Yeah. So it can kind of escalate into something else. Yeah. Okay. And there's a number of ways that we can support you in dealing with those kind of difficulties so that you can overcome them. And we use something that's based on the principles of cognitive behavioural therapy. We use something called an ABC model, which I'll go through in a while. And this is basically an evidence-based treatment therapy that will help you deal with difficulties. It's proven to be effective, basically. So if I just explain the ABC model. So excuse my scribblings. So the A's A stands for autonomic. It represents the physical being, so that feeling of panic that you were describing just then. The B stands for behaviours, and it's about the things that you do or you don't do as a consequence of how you're feeling. And C stands for cognitions, which is your thought patterns and things that you're thinking either during the event or perhaps prior to the event. So as an example, so what it's looking at there then is how these three areas interact with each other and can impact on each other in quite often a negative way. It can be a bit like a vicious cycle, which is a term that I think a lot of people can identify with. So, and it really sums up what you were saying, that if you're in a situation where you're feeling panicky, you're feeling hot and sweaty, and you might have a thought that would be, I'm going to fall over, I'm going to collapse. And that leads to a change in behaviour, meaning that you want to get out of the place that you're in, so you might leave. And as a consequence, that might lead to another thought of, I'm not going there again, or I can't do it, kind of thing. And that can lead to further avoidance of places. So can you see that this then generates that kind of vicious cycle? Can you put yourself in that cycle, do you think?
So because when I go somewhere I feel sort of shaky and hot and I get those physical feelings, I then have the thought like I'm going to faint or I'm going to pass out, so then I leave. And then like you say, I then don't want to go there again, so then I'm avoiding it more. I can see what you're saying.
So you can see that you can identify with that process.
No, definitely.
Okay, that's good. So the aim of the cognitive behavioural principles really is looking at how we can break that cycle. So if we can work on sort of better understanding those physical thoughts, or we can understand the physical feelings even, and think about the thoughts that you're having, or look at the behaviours. If we can break that cycle, then it doesn't develop into that kind of vicious cycle. So it doesn't lead to that avoidance. Start doing the things that perhaps you stop doing
That would be good.
because of how you're feeling. And there's a number of ways in which we do that. What we actually start with is psychoeducational information about panic and what that means, and better understanding those physical feelings that you're having, so that perhaps it doesn't lead to that sensation of I'm going to faint. So that's what we normally start with, and then there's other things that we can move on to, something called exposure therapy, which is about being able to start to go back to the situations that you've stopped going to, but doing it on a very gradual, step-by-step basis. We can go into more information about what that actually means down the line if we need to. At the moment, what I've got is this book. It's a booklet, I should say. So this provides you some information on panic and the physical elements that I've been talking about. Specifically, the first sort of 5 pages are about that. So I was wondering if you would feel comfortable in reading through that.
Yeah, definitely.
So that would be, and then we could look at that in more detail in our next session. Would that be all right?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's great.
to you. Excellent. Okay, so when would you like to meet next?
Next week.
Next week?
Be good to get going,
Yeah, okay. And is there a particular day or time that it's supposed to be?
Well, this time suits me. So.
Yeah, it's the same day, same time next
Yeah.
week. Lovely. I'll see you then.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.